So I believe we are live now. Good evening. I'm Debbie Lacken from Kids Around Dog, and this is our author chat. And we have a very special guest all the way from Canada. Long journey. It's Yogyata Suri. Hi, Yogyata.
Hi everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. I am so honored, Debbie. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited and thrilled.
Ah. I'm so excited too because I love your book. And also just the
Thank you.
cover is so cute. Can you show us the cover? Because I know you got it
Yeah,
there.
this is
Isn't that
Ladybug, the
cute?
shy rescue dog.
And that is actually because I've seen real life photos of Ladybug through your website,
Oh.
and she looks exactly like that.
Thank
Like, yeah, you see her
you.
first
Thank
thing.
That makes me so happy. I'm just, it was a really hard time to find a good illustrator that captures her personality. And so you saying that to me means so much to me. Thank you. I really
Really,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
Also, because I've seen the picture book before the real photos.
Oh,
So
right.
when the real photo, but I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about you before talking about the book. So,
Mhm.
Yogata, we were discussing your name because I thought I'm going to pronounce it wrong, which I did originally, of course. You mentioned that you are from India originally, but now you live in Ontario, Canada. So
Mhm.
is your name from India then?
Yes. So I grew up in the capital of India, New Delhi. And my parents, they chose a name from Sanskrit, and it's that's the Indian language, the old Indian language. It's not as common anymore to name people with that language, but my that's what my mom chose, and the name of my meaning of my name is capability. So a lot of
Wow.
Indian names always have the reasoning is always there's a meaning to the name,
Mhm. Yeah.
and so the meaning for my name is capability to do something. And my mom thought it was very impactful, and she loved that about it, and so she named me that. And now I have heard so many different pronunciations of my name. But good thing about that is the people remember you because it's such a unique name, even though they may not pronounce it right. And honestly, it never bothers me because I appreciate people making an effort. So
I guess so.
yeah. And I moved to Toronto, Canada in 2009 to
Right.
do my post-secondary education here.
Mhm.
And it was a very challenging time in my life because I came all the way from India all by myself and
Right.
started a career and just finished all my post-secondary studies here in Toronto.
Yeah.
I went to a Christian school in India as well. So you may hear some parts of, the Indian accent in certain words that I say.
Right.
But I primarily grew up speaking my first language, Hindi, and then English as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't detect the accent at
No,
all. I guess my
spirit,
accent is
in
strong enough for us
certain.
both.
Thank you.
I can't detect it at all. So that's why I was quite surprised when you said that, you were originally from here. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, really? I did
Yeah.
not see that one coming.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Um, so let's talk about your book. And I should say that I found I found Yogata on Instagram, didn't I?
Mhm.
Through Instagram, and I loved your book. I love like I said, I love the fact that the cover was just so cute. And I always say don't judge a book by its cover and things like this, but actually, when you are talking about children book, it's a bit different, isn't it? Because the cover has to be very appealing to kids.
Absolutely. Yes.
And then I looked at your website and I saw
Mhm.
photos of Ladybug, and I was surprised at how it was. I knew it was her immediately, even without reading about her. I knew it was her because it's just the same as
Right.
the picture book. So just to briefly say, the story is about Ladybug, and she's a rescue dog that you and is it your husband in the picture book, or is a fictional character?
No, he is in the book as well. Yes. I so just because you touched on that topic, I just wanted
Mhm.
to say, my book, I wanted to, it wasn't supposed to be this big thing that it has now become. I wanted it to just be something that I can have as a memory of Ladybug, because she was diagnosed with cancer, memory cancer, in December. And so that was a very hard time in our life, because we brought this dog from streets to give her a really good life. And I'm gonna try not to cry, but I may get emotional.
Yeah, I
So I apologize
understand.
for that in advance.
Nothing
She
to
was,
apologize for.
yeah, she was totally my heart dog, and the relationship and the bond that I had with her was very strong. And so when she was diagnosed with memory cancer, it broke my heart into so many pieces.
Um,
And because it was such a hard time for me, I wanted to use that time to do something in her honor, in her memory. And so part of me wanted to, do something unique, something different. And I know I didn't mention this before, but I am a former early childhood educator. So in Ontario, we have teachers, and then we have early childhood educators who help support the early learning for kids around the age of 2 to 7 years old. And that's what I did for schooling here. Although I'm not a practicing early childhood educator. I just thought it was a lot of it was a bit much for me, so I took a different direction in my career. But I do know a lot about kids, and I that's what I learned in school, and I practiced as well. So for me, having Ladybug an impact on the children was the direction I wanted to take. And so I thought I would write a children's book. Growing up, I used to write poems, and I remember writing them. And I when I told my mom that I'm going to try and write a book, she cried, because she felt so sad, because she said, you used to write poems back in the day, and it's so sad that I wasn't never able to help you publish it back in the day. So but here we are today, and I wrote a book in her honor, and honestly, I can just say that it meant so much to me. So anything in this book, including the characters, are have been very carefully chosen to reflect her life. Like anytime I look at a page in this book, I can imagine her here, and I can imagine my life with her. So all the illustrations in this book are taken from a photo that I have had.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, so even on the cover, if you see her bandana, that's a real bandana that she had on. That's the bandana she came with
yeah.
from her foster mom. And
Oh,
so every little thing of this book reminds me of my life that I had built for her and with her. So, which is, I think, my prized possession, because I can anytime look at it
yeah.
and think of her in, it hurts, but it also gives me this nice, peaceful calmness that she brought in my life. I did
And
it without
also,
crying.
in a way, it's as if she would live forever anyway in your memories. But the fact that
Mhm,
you have done this in her memory is almost like she's living with other people now, and
mhm.
like her spirit is everywhere in a way. And
Yes,
she's all the way here to the UK,
yes,
but who would have thought
yeah.
in a way,
So
probably when you were
definitely that.
writing it, you were thinking
Mhm.
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think not just Ladybug, but all the dogs that we have in our lives, and we're all dog people here.
Yeah.
They make such a huge impact in our life in certain ways, and I think with Ladybug too. And when you think about your own dog that you may
Mm,
have lost, um, you'll remember how they changed you or what they brought about you. For me, Ladybug made me patient, because she was so scared and skittish.
okay.
And I was a very social person, and I'm always a people pleaser. And because she was so scared, I had to always advocate for her space.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that she taught me. I had to take care of this scared dog, and I had to use my voice, because to me, her comfort mattered more than me pleasing people, right?
Yeah.
So she brought all these nice things with me when I think about it. And you know what? She made me a better person.
Mm,
And she taught me love. She
yeah.
taught me this beautiful love. Without, she was my best friend. Like, she didn't speak, but but she spoke in other ways, and she taught me love and she taught me loss.
Mm.
And it's so powerful because I'm here today. I love her. I remember her. There's not a day that goes by without thinking about her. And yet I put all my effort into making a book about her so I can talk about her, which is my favorite thing to do. Yeah.
And everyone gets to know her a bit, which is lovely.
Yes. And so that's the legacy I hope I'm leaving for her. So I'm excited for that. And I look forward to talking about her because it makes me happy.
Mm.
Um, she chose me to be that person and to fight that battle for her, and I did, and it hurt in some places, but I'm happy that I was the one she chose to be her family. So
And in fact, let's talk about her, because obviously she's um,
Mhm.
a story in a way is told in the book.
Yeah.
So again, without giving too much spoilers, but obviously it's a story about you guys wanting to
Mhm.
adopt your life, and finding her through a rescue center, on a website, on a rescue center,
Mhm.
and uh, and then pointing out the things that she liked and the things that that she did.
Mhm.
Um, and what I really liked is the message that you want to impart in the book is to help rescue dogs.
Mhm.
They not only are really cute, obviously, as Ladybug
Mhm.
was, but you pointed out as well, sometimes they come with some issues, and they
Right.
require patience, and they require extra love, if you like, that is not always that simple. And you said yourself, you had to learn to be patient for her and advocate for her as well. Um,
Mhm.
was Ladybug your first dog?
She was my own first dog. I have had family dogs before, but they were always my parents' responsibility.
Right,
So
yeah,
this was
yeah, of course.
when Ladybug was my first actual dog who I managed to make sure she was alive at all times, right?
I know what you
So,
mean.
because you have to feed them, you have to take care of them, and when it's a family dog, you don't have to worry about that. They always get fed by your mom.
Yeah, someone else will do.
Yes,
And if they're anything like my dog, they remind you like for
every
sure that
time.
it's dinner time.
That's so true too. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, Ladybug was so we want my husband and I wanted a dog because I that's the condition I had. If I'm gonna marry him, I am gonna get a dog. Thankfully, we were both on board.
So if you
Yes.
want to marry me, get me a puppy. Because
Yeah, so we've
just
been
get me a
married for
dog and we'll be fine.
yeah, so we've been married for about a year, and I wanted to have a companion who I can, I love hiking. I wanted to have someone to share that with. And we were thinking about getting a dog, and I was looking at different types of dogs, and then my husband recommended, you know what, there are so many dogs that need homes, and we don't have kids, and it's just the two of us. We can manage to take care of a rescue dog. I'm not saying that not all dogs need to have a kid-free home. There are many dogs, that also are kid-friendly, and that's definitely important. You have to always look at the behavior and temperament and make sure you are picking the right type of dog for your family. So at the time, it was just my husband and I, and we wanted a low energy dog because that was one of our priority. We both
Mhm.
work really busy hours, but we work just separate shifts, like our schedules are
Okay, yeah,
completely
yeah, yeah.
opposite. So we wanted a dog that we don't have to commit to like 3 hours a day,
Mhm.
and if they can go 3 hours a day, that's great, but wanted like something lower energy. So that was very important to us, that we made a list of dogs that had the right temperament. Yeah, so we wanted to make sure actually our dog is also kid friendly because we're very close with our nephews and nieces
Oh yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
well. So that was also important. And so we looked at all those qualities, and we decided we were just going to rescue, because also with rescues, a good thing about that is that you can see their temperament, and you
Mhm.
can kind of ask questions, especially if they're not a puppy and they're like an adult dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of the temperament is a little bit clearer as opposed to a puppy, because puppies can change and, you may not have all that information right in front of
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
So, not saying that they're all perfect, but
No,
they're just
absolutely.
saying a lot of rescue dogs, I think you have to train your dog no matter what, but at least it kind of gives you a guideline as to if the dog would be a good fit for you or not. And we came across two dogs. One was Ladybug and one was this dog named Jack. And we decided, who are we going to go with? And we kept on going back to Ladybug because, first of all, her name was
Yeah.
so unique. And I was like, I'm going to change her name. There's 3 syllables, Ladybug. Like it's a lot. So, but, and then her eyes really spoke with us. She had this really sad looking photo where she's like looking down and scared. And I said, you know what? I think we may be a good fit for her. She was low energy. She was kid friendly. And at that time we lived in an apartment. We didn't have a backyard. So she was also apartment friendly. So there are dogs that are rescue dogs that don't have to have a fenced in yard, as long as you're meeting their exercise. And she just met all the criterias. And I said, you know what, we are gonna go through with her, just see if we'll be a good fit. And they talked us through they said she's very scared, so just make sure you're giving her a lot of decompression time. And she was our first dog, so we were like, okay, we're gonna read a book. We actually read Zach George's a best behaved dog, just because, just to start ourselves and, get our feet wet in the water. And that gave us a good idea of how to get started with her. And we got selected for her, and we had to pick her up because she came from Texas, United States.
All right.
Yeah, so she was actually scheduled to be euthanized, and she was saved within minutes. And so a person pulled her out of the high kill shelter because they have to make space for dogs, and if they don't have enough space, so that's just what they do, which is so sad. But she was one of the lucky ones that was saved, and so we had to meet her at a gas station they had scheduled us for. And it was so sad because I was so excited to pick her up, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get Ladybug. And then I saw, as soon as they brought her out, there were 4 volunteers trying to hold her because she was such a huge flight risk. And she actually pooped and peed on one of the volunteers' pants because she was so scared. And that was a very frightening moment for a first-time dog owner because I'd never seen that before. And my husband is a paramedic, so he's very calm in very stressful situations. He came in and he said, I know that was very helpful because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. He came in and he talked to them and he said, you know what, we're gonna make sure we take her in a crate and then we'll double leash her. And she was the cutest thing. She had like these Dorito chips ears, and like they always used to like hang like that, and then they would turn around for mobility. It was just the cutest thing ever. And she came with a bandana and a green ball that she loved. She was very short. I know in a lot of photos she doesn't look like that, but she had like short legs and a German Shepherd coat. So a lot of times she would get recognized as a German Shepherd, but she was a Shar-Pei mix. So she had like these, fluffy neck rolls, and it's the cutest thing ever. And she had a spotted tongue. I was like, oh my God, is she sick? and
That's why she was called Ladybug, isn't it?
Right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'd never seen a spotted tongue before. And then Hergie's like, no, that's a real thing. Like dogs have spotted tongues. So she was just the cutest thing ever. And I did want to mention that it took her 7 months to completely decompress. I know that's not your average timeline.
No, but it happens.
Yeah.
And we need to be prepared.
Right. Yeah, so she took 7 months to completely decompress, but once she had decompressed, she'd accepted us as her family, and it was the cutest thing ever because she would always be by our side. And she was never a destructive dog. Like she would just sleep in her, in her dog bed, and we make sure to give her a lot of structure, and all her interactions with my nieces and nephews were always supervised, but she was so gentle around them. And it's funny because we have, I think, 6 nieces and nephews, and at the time we had 5. Now we have another little one. um,
Oh,
and anytime she would take a step back, one of the nieces or the nephews will police each other. She's scared. Take a step back too. So it was just so nice
lovely.
because we taught them
That's
to
fantastic.
interact
Well
with
done.
her, right? Because she was a little scared.
Yeah.
And she loved getting pets from them. Like she would just lie down on her back and then let them rub her. But we also made sure that we are giving her space and advocating for her space as well. So a good balance is always great. But I did want to point out that um, the concept of rescuing is so special in so many ways, that you see that being rewarded when you have those moments where your family members are able to just accept the dog as your family too. And it's just so amazing. But not all dogs are always, like she took 7 months. There are dogs that take only 3 days and they're like, this is home, right?
Yeah,
So
it
that's
really
that's
depends so much on the personality of the dog. And
great. Yeah.
but
So
as you guys did, you had the patience to wait for her effectively.
right.
It's important to know that when you do adopt a dog, it might take that time. It might take longer, it might take less time, but
Mhm.
whatever it is, effectively, we need to be prepared in case that dog
Right.
takes a certain amount of
Yeah.
time.
And so that's one of the things to remember. And I did not grow up with the concept of a rescue dog. And
Mhm,
I think that's why, to me, it was important that, to me, Ladybug will always be a rescue dog, because
mhm,
I wasn't able to, and she was 3 years old when we adopted her.
mhm.
So I miss her puppyhood. I don't know
Yeah,
what she looked like as a puppy, right? So to me, that's an important part of her. But I also don't let that define her completely. So there's
mhm,
a good balance. I made sure I trained her. I made sure I advocated for her space. Um, and so to me, she'll always be a rescue dog. And I wanted children, as they grow up, to understand that that is also an option as an alternative to purchasing a pet. And of course, there is, you know, not all rescue dogs are well fitted for all types of homes. So it's very important that you're picking the dog based on their personality and temperament and your lifestyle,
mhm, mhm.
right? And that should actually be the case even when you're purchasing a dog as well, right? Like
Mhm.
make sure
And
you're doing your research with the breed that you're getting, to make sure that it will be a good fit for your home. Like if you're getting a working line dog, make sure you have that time to make the breed work. So to me, that was very important, and I wanted to just have children grow up with the concept of learning what rescuing is, what it can mean for the dog, and also for us as humans.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. I think it's well conveyed in the book how precious it is to effectively to rescue a dog, and how then the dog can rescue you as well, especially emotionally.
absolutely.
But I'm really glad that you pointed out how not all dogs would be fitted for a home with children, and to do your homework indeed, to
Mhm.
whether you're rescuing or not, to do your homework regardless. And I would also like make a little appeal to rescue centers, especially to make sure that you are assessing a dog properly before looking for a family for that dog is so, so important.
Important.
In fact, we have rescue centers as part of our Cadapro professionals. And if you are rescuing a dog or adopting a dog, always consider getting in touch with a professional to help you, because that's what we do, really.
Right.
um, so I would like to ask you a question. I always ask this question to all our authors. Do you have a favorite book or a favorite author that you like to share with us?
So one of my most, and this is probably going to be, I think, everyone's favorite book, but I love The Alchemist, and I thought it was such a
Oh,
great story because I really believe in science,
mm,
and I believe that, everything that happens around you happens for a reason. And I think that book has so many hidden messages that you can apply to like any situation in your life. And I could read that book over and over again and
mm,
still learn something new from
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and my favorite author is Stephen King.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
very
believe.
different.
I mean, who doesn't love his books, right? So I've read a whole lot of his books, and he's one of my favorite authors. So I could just pick any of his books blindly and enjoy. I know that I'll enjoy
Mm. It's
it.
funny because like The Alchemist, that's Paulo Coelho.
Right,
It was, oh gosh, it was such an important book when just before my 20s when I first found it, and it was just so inspirational and like thought,
right,
I can't believe I lived without this book. You know what I mean? It's like
right,
so important. And then I lost it in the different move. I moved it to this country, and I bought it again years later, and it just spoke to me in such a different way because I needed a different message at that time in my life. And in fact, a friend of mine, her daughter was going through puberty, and the difficulty of that time of life. And I did buy at that book. You need to read this book because
yeah,
this is gonna help you so much. It's
yeah,
just such a fantastic book. And then it's funny that you say that and you're like Stephen King, because my husband loves Stephen King. But I think he's read all of his books, and I'm too scared. So I'm not
that's
reading, I'm
so
not reading
funny.
any of his books.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I really enjoy a good book that you could kind of just dwell into. And for me, like Stephen King is one of them. Like you won't be
Yeah,
disappointed
I
regardless
love
of
he's
which
a
book you
brilliant.
pick.
Yeah.
So I love that about him as an author, because he's done such great work. But yeah, for Alchemist, I'm completely on board with you. Like it's all about perspective and where you are in your life. You'll read it and it'll speak to you. It resonates, and it's so amazing.
It really is. I have my copy there, and I know that my daughter is only 11 now, so I don't think she would want to read it, to be honest. I think she'd be like, why am I reading this?
Maybe
Where
younger.
are my really cool stories? But, soon enough, she'll be like, oh, I think I could do with reading a book. And I
Yeah,
know it'd be the right time then for her to
absolutely.
really take that message. Um,
Mhm.
so any future project for you, Yogata?
This is exciting. So I'm actually working on two projects right now. Um, so or maybe you may not know because the book doesn't cover my book, Ladybug doesn't cover this, but
Mhm.
Ladybug was also a dog reactive dog. So
Okay.
she
Right, yeah.
was she was not super friendly with other dogs, and dog reactivity is mainly when you have an overreaction to a stimulus. And
Mhm.
she every time she would see a dog, she would growl and stuff. So we did a lot of like training, and we worked through a lot of strategies with her, and she was able to coexist with other dogs, and we accepted that for her. She was not the type of dog that liked to play with other dogs, which is
Okay.
completely fine. I accepted her for who she was.
Brilliant.
And after I lost Ladybug, I realized that Harjeet and I are completely dog people, and we wanted to carry on her journey by adopting another rescue.
Yeah.
And so we adopted Kiwi. She's supervising this call, but she's sleeping on the job.
Ah,
She's right here
on the
stretching.
job.
um, yeah, she's right here, but she's stretching and sleeping.
Of
And
course.
she is also a dog reactive dog.
Mhm.
And we knew that when we adopted her. And because we did what we did with Ladybug, I think Kiwi was a she just like when I read her bio, I'm like, she's not food motivated, she's dog reactive, she needs structure, she is a dog that's affectionate, and I'm like, you know what, she's low energy, she's good with kids. She also ticked all the boxes, and so we brought her home, and she will have like explosions when she would see a dog barking, lunging, everything, right? So it was hard in the beginning. So I'm now working on a dog reactivity journal.
Mhm.
first of all. So that's going to be just a self-reflection journal
Oh,
that
yeah. Yeah.
sometimes you feel so embarrassed with what
Yeah.
happened and you want to just be able to write it down.
Yeah.
And
And also
so I'm
sometimes
working on that.
you feel quite lonely and you feel,
Yes.
gosh, I'm the only one, just me and my dog, and no one will ever understand how I feel. But actually, it's great that
It,
you're doing this, because a lot of people will definitely resonate with a lot of the stuff you're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I want people to be, it's okay to have a really hard walk. It's okay for your dog to not like another dog, but
Exactly. Yeah.
how you take care of yourself after that situation is very important. And so I'm working on that journal, and I'm also working on this. This is something I've been working on for a really long time, and I'm very excited about it. Is my second book, and it is about Ladybug, and it is around advocacy around kids with dogs. So the concept of the book is personal space of a dog and consent before you pet or
Brilliant.
approach a dog. That topic is very, very important to me because I had a dog that was scared, and sometimes people just reach for her, and I think this topic is so important, not to just teach our children but also some adults,
Yeah,
because it's such an
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
educational opportunity. And so I am going to be I'm working on that right now, and I'm hoping to release it by November.
yeah.
um, and I think as an owner of a scared dog or an anxious dog or even a service dog sometimes, or a sick dog, consent should always be there. Like, dogs are not public property, and we shouldn't be treating them as such.
Mhm.
We should always ask before we can approach and pet a dog.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm working on. I'm very excited about it.
That is very exciting, and it's right up, the CAD's ethos, if you like. Also, because consent not only is important to teach it to about dogs, but it's about humans as well. So
Interactions.
it's, sending that message via, dogs as well. It can reflect very well on children, knowing that they can say no and that no will be heard as well.
Respected, yes.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
well, then we're gonna have you back with your new book then
I'm
to discuss it. I
excited.
really hope so.
Yes. No, Debbie, I really appreciate this opportunity. And as you
Oh,
said, like, I think educating children is the first and the only step in making sure that dogs are safe and children are safe, right?
yeah, yeah,
So, and as an adult, I feel like that is our opportunity and our responsibility to
yeah.
be able to, and to be very honest, I want to say this now because Kiwi was very reactive, and in my nephews and my nieces, um, they are always willing to help. How can we help you, Auntie? They want to be a part of that journey, and they want to know how they can help Kiwi be a good dog. And that could be as easy as, can you scan the environment for dogs for me? If you see a dog, can you let me know? It's as little as that. And I, in my opinion, in my opinion and experience with Ladybug, anytime I have had a kid approach me, can I pet her? And I always thank them. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
And and I have, like, I appreciate that so, so much because I know what it can be like not being asked, and children always want to be able to understand why they can't pet. Or so I think that's such a huge moment for us as an adult to be able to explain that to a child, because once I teach that one child, if that another child is with them, I'm sure that child would speak up and say, this is what I was told. And I take pride in being able to make difference even in one child around me. So I'm just so all about that. I feel like, having worked with children, that's something so important to them. They want to be able to help, and we need to be
Indeed,
able to
yeah, yeah.
provide them an opportunity to be able to help. You can
And as
help,
you say,
right?
even just one child, gosh, it's one child, isn't it? It's one child that
Right.
could have potentially been saved from something happening. or
Right.
potentially saving the dog from getting upset and
Absolutely.
going over a threshold. So it is a very powerful and very, very important message. So I'm very glad that we connected, and I'm very, very glad that that you brought about Ladybug, that you brought her into the literally world and to our dog world. So Ladybug, the rescue shy dog. Can you lift up the cover again to show
Yeah.
us, please? There it is. So, Yogata, where can we buy the book?
So my book is available globally on Amazon. So if you just type in Ladybug the Shy Rescue Dog, it should be the first link. It's available all over the world and is fulfilled by Amazon. So you will be, if you have Prime, you will get it within 2 days. And I hope you love the book. I hope anyone who is looking for even a Christmas present, I feel like this would make such a good present. And if you do get the book, and I would love to hear what you think. So I'm excited that Ladybug gets her story across the world, and she can be one dog that can teach people what it is to be a rescue dog and make such an impact.
That's lovely. So, little reminder that the Ladybug book is one of the Kids Around Dogs library books. So we love the book and we really support it. And also don't forget that schools can do with some new titles and some new ideas of some books. So you could perhaps, if you're a parent or if you're connected with schools, you're a teacher, maybe you could suggest for this book to be in their library as well. So that could be a lovely thing to do. So Yogata, thank you so much for
Thank
chatting with me this evening. It's been really lovely. And so I look forward to have you back with your new book.
Yay, I'm excited. Debbie, I really wanted to thank you for this opportunity.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
Have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you again, Yogata. Bye-bye.
Bye, take care.
Bye.